Morning everyone, welcome to All Four Queens. Hope everyone's doing well on this crisp morning wherever you are in the world. And we're obviously in autumn, which I believe is fall in America. So so back to the sweatshirts and body warmers and things like that, because it gets a bit too warm for a coat, but not enough for not wearing anything over the top. But then, some people are still in shorts, so who knows. Hope everyone's keeping up with the spiritual practices. The weekend I said about cleansing. I did an egg cleanse the weekend, and I'm going to show you what came out of it as well, because there are people throwing out a lot of stuff at the minute, and evil eye is definitely one of them. And obviously those that are doing the glamour spells and trying to draw off divine beings and take all their glamour. To me, you know what I mean? If that's what you feel you need to do, then do it, because at the end of the day, you don't take my spirit. So, priorities really, spirit and knowledge. If you want to glamour yourself up to make yourself look, gorgeous, we all know what you really look like, and we all know what your spirit looks like. So, crack on, because it is what it is, isn't it? But I'm going to start calling those Matilda. Matilda in The Witches. And my spirit guys are making me laugh, because obviously that's what they say. It's Matilda in The Witches. There's a couple of other things that I want to sort of say as well in terms of my journey. And like I said before, my journey isn't unique to me. Everyone who is on this path has been through something similar. May not be exactly the same, but something similar. So my life in movies, and I will do a section on it: Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Matilda, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And there are other ones as well, which obviously, are a bit more darker, but I will put those out as well, and then we can put something around it in relation to stuff. So anyway, today's session, I have got something to talk about, because I kept saying we all have free will. So that's what they kept saying: we all have free will, we all have free will, or we all have free will. And the truth be told, they're still back on that train. However, before we do that, I just want to sort of say, I want to read something out of the Bible in Revelations, because I'm going to do quite a bit of work on Revelations, because that's where we're at the minute. And all I keep hearing in coaching and everywhere, everyone I speak to is like, oh, this world's gone mad. Well, if this world's gone mad and you feel like this world's gone mad, what are you doing about it? We all have a choice. It's all right sitting there saying this world's gone mad, but what changes are you making to make it a better place? Because we're all accountable. So if you think about a business that we work in, if you saw like an obstruction on the floor from health and safety, you'd pick it up and you'd move it. So rather than complain about the world going mad, what are you going to do in your little bubble of the world to make a difference and to make a change and jump out of its negative stuff and into the positive stuff of more service and us all being more oneness? It doesn't start. And I've got another piece that I've done on my campaign thing. For me, don't sit around waiting for the leaders of the world to do it. We are our own people, and we can change the bits within us and our environment to make it spread out to the wider world. So let's just not sit waiting for them to do it, because we've been waiting forever. They chase a vote, they get the vote, and then what do? Do they actually do what they say they're going to do? There's me going on my political stance. But hey ho, the truth be told. Anyway, I had my last awakening. I mean, I've had quite a few and I've kept my mouth shut. But, since I was a child. So April 2021 was obviously when I went through it. But obviously, it was like the November, December when I just sort of like, it imploded. And then in the autumn time of 2021, I was outside, and when you go through that complete bliss, you're in the bliss of everything looks amazing, the sky's so blue and everything, and you're seeing all this, and then all of a sudden you hit into the storm of like spiritual warfare. because as they say, people see your light before you do sometimes, but hey ho, it is what it is. And I think God does that for a reason. He wants us to go through all these different challenges so that when we get our light and when we see our light, we're so strong. But anyway, so I was standing outside, because at that time I was still in my habits and stuff, and you know, I'm not perfect. I've still got habits. We all have, and we've all been conditioned and programmed, so we've all got things that we need to sort of clear out, for want of a better word. So anyway, I was standing outside, and in the sky, and I know a lot of other people have seen, in the sky was the clouds, was 3 angels, the trumpet. So I want to read you something. Book of Revelations 9:5-6, the trumpets. Then the 7 angels who had the 7 trumpets prepared to sound them. The first angel sounded his trumpet, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and it was hurled down upon the earth. 1/3 of the earth was hurled up, and 1/3 of the trees were burnt up, and all the green grass was burned up. The second angel sounded his trumpet, and something like a huge mountain, all ablaze, was thrown into the sea. 1/3 of the sea turned into blood, 1/3 of the living creatures in the sea died, and 1/3 of the ships were destroyed. The third angel sounded his trumpet, and a great star blazing like a torch fell from the sky on 1/3 of the rivers and on the springs of water. The name of the star is wormwood. 1/3 of the water turned bitter, and many people died from the water that had become bitter. The fourth angel sounded his trumpet, and 1/3 of the sun was struck, 1/3 of the moon, and 1/3 of the stars, so that 1/3 of them turned dark. 1/3 of the day was without light, and 1/3 of the night. As I watched, I heard an eagle that was flying in the mid-air call out in a loud voice, "Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, because of the trumpet blasts about to be sounded by other 3 angels." The 5th angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from the sky to the earth. The star was given the key to the shaft of the abyss. When he opened the abyss, smoke rose from it like the smoke from a gigantic furnace. The sun and the sky were darkened by the smoke from the abyss, and out of the smoke locusts came down upon the earth and were given power like that of scorpions of the earth. They were told not to harm the grass of the earth or any plant or tree, but only those people who did not have the seal of God in their foreheads. They were not given power to kill them. Excuse me. But only to torture them for 5 months, and the agony they suffered was like that of the sting of a scorpion. When it strikes a man during those days, men will seek death, but will not find it. They will long to die, but death will elude them. The locusts looked like horses prepared for battle. On their heads they wore something like crowns of gold, and their faces resembled human faces. Their hair was like a woman's hair, and their teeth were like lions' teeth. They had beast plates of iron, and the sound of their wings were like the thundering of many horses and chariots rushing into battle. They had tails and stings like scorpions, and in their tails they had power to torment people for 5 months. They had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name is in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek Apollyon. The first woe is past, 2 other woes are yet to come. The 6th angel sounded his trumpet, and I heard a voice coming from the horns of the golden altar that is before God. It said to the 6th angel who had the trumpet, "Release the 4 angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates, and the 4 angels who had been kept ready for this very hour and day and month and year were released to kill 1/3 of mankind." The number of the mountain troops was 200 million. I heard their number. The horses and riders I saw in my vision looked like this. The breastplates were fiery red, blue, dark blue and yellow as sulphur. The heads of the horses resembled the heads of lions, and out of their mouths came fire, smoke and sulphur. A third of mankind was killed by the 3 plagues of fire, smoke and sulphur that came out of their mouths. The power of the horses was in their mouths and in their tails. From their tails were like snakes, having heads with which they inflict injury. The rest of mankind that were not killed by the plague still did not repent of their work of their hands. They did not stop worshipping demons and idols of gold, silver, bronze, stone and wood, idols that cannot see or hear or walk. Nor did they repent of their murders, their magical arts in the dark, and sexual immorality of their thefts. Right, so I've read that. So why did I read that? So if you think about where we're at the minute, there's a bit of a battle between light and dark. In my case, and I'm sure in many other cases, what's happened is karmics, and I don't mean offensively when I say karmic, just means you've got more lessons to learn, and low vibration, don't do the work that God sets you out to do in terms of learning your lessons to get to your blessings. They don't do the work. They stay on a low vibration. They stay in toxicity and the devil's den and do all the things that, you know, are of the devil. Addictions, you know, stealing, money being the idol and everything else, and the glamour and, you know, all that sort of fancy stuff. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that the balance that needs to be attained. So that everyone sees there's a bit of a balance. So there's that. And so what they do is they seek out people's charts and go about stealing, staying on the low vibration and then swapping things around to get what God has put for people to do his work. Right, okay. So the cards, and again, I'm not flicking them, but I will explain as I go along. So what God has done, so remember, people come together and then they disappear and they go and learn the lessons and they come back together again. And this can be past life, this life. So, you know, it doesn't mean it was happening in this life. It can be past life, but it just means that, you know, you've got to find your way back together again. Think about Esther and things like that and all the other ones in the Bible, which I will make reference to. I think there's the brother and sister as well, but I can't remember the name, but I'll put it in the dialogue thing. So God devised his divine plan and had 2 people. Now ignore the card of what it is, but it had 2 people that he wanted in his divine connection to bring love into the world. Yeah. One was the Hierophant and one was the High Priestess. Sorry, I lost my head then. But the families got involved, created illusions, lied. And we know all this because they did it before, didn't they? Lied, inserted somebody else by saying that was who was supposed to be the person, who was actually a magician and of the devil. Yeah? So the devil inserted himself in God's plan, basically. The purpose was to trap in a secret marriage to stop God's plan. They moved forward, but because they were both greedy, and obviously they stayed in Karmicville, they got some money, and then it came to light, because we fast forwarded now, that the emperor was with an empress in reverse who became successful, both of them, but they did dabble in black magic to confuse the world and manipulate the justice system because they wanted to get more money. It came to light again that because we're in Trumpet 2024, Year of Infinity, they had a tower because the truth came out. Sorry, got a bit of reflection there. Of the lovers' betrayal. Now they're stuck and stressed because of all the years. It's all right, I'm looking for another one here. Because of all the years that's now under scrutiny. Everyone's fighting for karma, and they're trying to hold on to what little they've got, or maybe just hold on to a bit of dignity, because remember we talk about integrity and pride and ego. Now they're burdened because of the judgment and have been forced to go within. Remember on one of my other ones I said better to go willingly than be forced to go within, because when you've been forced to go through a dark night of the soul and you look at everything that you've done and everybody that you've hurt, not just me, because this isn't just about me, this is happening to everyone around the world, it's painful. And now they're in regret. Now again, I said, is it regret or is it remorse? Because the way people have come for me, I would say it's more regret and shame and guilt, so that they're trying to hide the secret. So which is why I've got a lot of protection around me, because we all have choices and the truth be told. So what God did, he kept his secret from everyone, because everyone was being watched. Remember, it all goes in your Akashic records. They record everything. They know everything. Kept his secret and had his high priestess cloaked, who is also the Hierophant and also the magician. So she was the secret, the key, and she's all three. But she's also a conduit who delivers karma. And why do I say that? Because remember in the Bible, it says, it just gets to the page, I did actually mark it. A 1,000 years. A 1,000 years. I saw thrones on which were seated those who had been given authority to judge. So those that have been called under the trumpet have been given authority to judge, because time is up and the truth be told. And the truth will always shine through, no matter what meddling or spell work or spiritual stuff you do, or 3D stuff you do, like putting holes in people's floors and coming and putting dirt all around someone's house, the truth will always be told. So, we all have free will. Judgment and justice will determine the choices we make. We don't have free will over the consequences. No one is above the law, physical and spiritual. And we all have to face our karma in this lifetime. So, truth. Psalms 15:2. He who walks with integrity and practices righteousness, who speaks the truth from his heart. Zechariah 8:16. These are things you must do. Speak truth to one another, render true, and sound judgment to your gates. Leviticus 19:11. You shall not steal, deceive. You shall not lie to one another. James 4:17. So any person who knows what is right to do but does not do it, to him is a sin. So for me, going back to what I showed you in the cards, when you knew the truth, that's when you should have opened up and said. Now for me, it makes no difference who you choose to choose. The point is you're going against God's wish, because we all have free will, remember, and we're not free of our consequences. So the point is, it's more probably from God's perspective of where the money was used, because the money was used on the dark side opposed to his righteousness on the light side. That's what this is about. People who are put together may not be together. They may just work together. They may not even be man and woman. It may be woman and woman. It could be siblings. It could be whoever. The point is, the financial element of it, it's where it was used. And in this instance, it was used to satisfy cults, covens, hives, harems, but not for the righteous. And whilst all that was going on in the corruption side, and don't get me wrong, this isn't just one person, this is the whole system that allowed it to happen, including the justice. Because remember when I said the justice system were also culpable because of all the fake documents that they allowed to get through, fake marriages, fake certificates, fake birth certificates, everything. Everyone was involved, so you're all culpable. And this is why the system is like the Matrix is crumbling, because God has put his foot down and said no more. And there are righteous people in right positions that are trying to do the right thing to put it right, because the world should be the right way, not upside down, full of greed, and everybody else is suffering. I mean, look at all those people on the street. There's no reason for that. It was okay to put them in hotels when it was in COVID, but now they're back on the street again. Now, to me, that could be their karma. But even if it is, there's still the hierarchy of basic needs. We're in the 21st century. People should not be living on the street and starving. It's just not the right way to go about stuff. So, point made. Hebrews 10:26-27. For if we go on sinning deliberately after receiving the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sin, but a fearful expectation of judgment and a fury of fire that will consume the adversaries. So I think I'll leave it on that one, because I think that sort of explains it all. Everybody who has had their finger and their hand in the cookie jar, not just my cookie jar, but every divine being's cookie jar, and has been sort of cut out of their destiny. Every adversity, everyone that's been involved, from friends, family, lovers, to the system, to the state, to the medical, to the judges, to everybody, police, authorities, organisations, secret societies, you're all under judgment. And I think you all know that, because it's disgusting behaviour. And, your ancestors, like I said before, are not happy with it. So that is today's session. obviously my story, but my story is probably not unique, and I'm sure everybody else has the same story as to what's happened to them. Oh yeah, and by the way, somebody asked me about that. That was when, you know, somebody said, do not help that person, do not do that. I think I'm going to call her Veronica Salt. It could be a bloke, but I'm going to say Veronica Salt. And someone will say, oh, well, you're not allowed to judge. Well, I'm sorry, but I said in the earlier one, judge and you will be judged. So people have judged me and called judgment on me. So yes, I am entitled to judge. Being spiritual does not mean I cannot call my own judgment. And the other thing that I have called as well is I have called karmic justice for all the wrongdoing against me and everybody else in the collective. And I've also called karmic justice. And one of the things that I've asked for, so you need to be aware, is that I actually want all those that have glamorised themselves to actually show their true colours, to actually show what they really look like, so everyone knows what they're dealing with. Just saying. So I'm going to love yous and leave yous. Have a fab day. Keep up with spiritual practices. Mop the floor. Clean, cleanse, do whatever. I've got someone coming back about the floor now because of the smell. So whoever little plot that was, if it was a part of the plot, then you've just made yourself look a bit silly, because I have made my insurance company aware of it as well. So hey ho. So I love yous and leave yous. Take it easy. See you later. Bye.